Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town of Port Royal, July 9th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. council meeting here in the Yvonne C. Butler Council Chambers at 700 Paris Avenue. Go ahead and call this meeting to order. We all right? We'll get started. Go ahead with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Ashmore, lead us in that, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Invocation, Councilman Owens.
Father, we thank you for this opportunity. We thank you for those assembled under the sound of our voice. We thank you for the business that will be conducted on tonight, that it will be pleasing in your sight. And we thank you for the decisions that will be made that will best serve all those whom we serve. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Approval of minutes. We've got a whole gang of them in front of us. Minutes from the budget workshop 3 of June 4th, 2025. Minutes from the special meeting of June 4th, 2025. Minutes from the public hearing of June 4th, 2025. Minutes from the council workshop of June 4th, 2025. And minutes from the council meeting of June 11th, 2025. Get a motion in there.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. Any subtractions, additions, discussions?
None for me.
Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Minutes are in the books. Up first, we've got a proclamation, Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week. We've got the Queen herself with us. We are blessed by her presence. And yes, ma'am, if you'd like to come on down. Are y'all ready? Y'all good to go? All right.
Make sure he gets my good side.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. How you doing, Miss Queen?
I'm blessed up. How honored to do?
Good.
Glad to see all on the chillin'.
So, really quick, I want to read this proclamation, and then we'll turn it over to you. You can tell us a little bit about the Gullah Nation and what's going on, and then we're going to come down there. We got a little presentation for you as well, too. Okay?
Excellent. Sounds
All right.
great.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, thank y'all for being here. Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week 2025 proclamation. 25 years of self-determination celebrating the roots and legacy of the Gullah Geechee Nation. Whereas the town of Port Royal was founded in 1562, and whereas at the founding native Gullah Geechees were here in the coastal region in our state, and whereas the Gullah Geechees have been essential to the cultural fabric of our community, and whereas we have, as a result, we have celebrated their contribution by actively being a part of the Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week since 2014, and whereas 2025 makes St. Helena Island's own Chiefess Queen Quet 25th anniversary as head Pundabodi of the Gullah Geechee Nation. How was that?
You getting there?
All right, all right.
Yeah, a couple more years for getting on the
Yes,
thing
ma'am.
like that.
Whereas Queen
Okay.
Quat has led the movement to protect Gullah Geechee culture, human rights, land and water rights for over 4 decades, during which she founded the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition. And whereas the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition was first the organization in world history to have Gullah Geechee in its name. And whereas the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition continues to forward the mission of the Gullah Geechee Nation, and whereas this is the 25th anniversary of the Gullah Geechee Nation, now therefore I, Mayor Kevin Phillips, and the Town of Port Royal Council do hereby proclaim July 26th through August 2nd, 2025 as the Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week 2025, and call upon all of our citizens to participate in celebrating the week in support of the activities happening locally and throughout the region under the theme 25 Years of Self-Determination, celebrating the roots and legacy of the Gullah Geechee Nation.
Thank you, Mayor.
25 years, that's amazing.
Look,
All right,
25
Queen.
years.
Yes, ma'am, you just, tell us what's going on, how you doing? It's good
Thank
to
you,
see
thank you. I'm blessed up. Glad to see my homeboy, Rachel. And so glad to be back here in Port Royal. This your Port Royal, because y'all know Port Royal deal all over the world, I find out. But this your Port Royal in South Kakalaki, and we beautiful Beaufort County, where we gonna launch Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week this year one more again, and go close them out, right, y'all? So plenty of things going on, and we want to make sure that all the 100 children can come. So I've been so blessed up when I walk in the door just now and see y'all had these on the table already. So I add a few more for everybody else yonder, but I gonna make sure all of y'all get them up here. so that y'all can't give me no excuse, say, I ain't been know what been going on. If I'd been
All right,
no
yes,
queen,
ma'am.
I would have come across it, you see? And so, definitely, it is a blessing every year to come and have some of y'all come over. You know you come on St. Helena to
Yes,
eat up
ma'am.
our food.
He wants to know what time dinner is.
I see y'all back and forth as well, so thank y'all for the continued support, and especially since today, when we rode up, and I'll give y'all some too. We rode up today and saw that the clock was working. Kwame said, the clock is working. And I know for everybody here, you might not realize why that was so exciting, but one year when we received this proclamation, I pointed out that the clock wasn't working outside. And then y'all also got this clock from another country in the motherland, and the clock was brought over here. So it's always about time and about timing.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I appreciate it that it is about time that our region really celebrates who we are down here. Because we would not have this region, we really wouldn't have the country had it not been for my ancestors, those the indigenous ones, the African ones, that built this place, that literally with their hands carved out a lot of what we see now. And we say, look at the scenic landscapes. Look at how beautiful it looks. And many times we don't realize that was forest. And they actually used their skill sets to create these plantations that became the thing, that became the economy of the colonies. And so when we celebrate, we never just go forward. We always do what we call sankofa, go back and fetch it. So as we learned, I know you remember, they told us as we grew up, if hone na know where hone the deer from, hone guai know where hone the guai. And so it's always about going back in your history so that you really grasp it and learn that legacy that you come from, so that then in the future, you and your children, your children's children can hold on to it and celebrate it. So to be able to be in my home county and 25 years later, have everybody in the county excited and celebrating. I'll get the city, I already got the City of Beaufort's proclamation. I already got Bluffton's. Hilton Head sent this through the mail or something. Y'all always invite me here, but I also want to commend our governor, because the first proclamation I got this year came from Columbia, from Governor McMaster, to call on the state to celebrate with us. And so on Saturday, July 26th, we are going to kick off this celebration at noon at Historic Penn Center on St. Helena Island again this year for Gullah Geechee Family Day. This year we're going noon to 3, it never ends at 3, but noon to 3, they never want to go home. If there's more food, they always stick around. There's going to be a lot of great food, a lot of great presentations, the drums will sound, there will be a lot of history. And more for 100 children who ain't even know who we do, anything like that. You want to know the true thing, you come from St. Helena. Because St. Helena is still the epicenter of Gullah Geechee culture. We live our culture. We don't have to perform it. We don't have to read it in a book. It's there. It's alive. And we want to keep it that way. And so then on Sunday, we're going to go to Mitchellville on Hilton Head. There's going to be a celebration that is in tribute to Daufuskie Island, but it's going to be the Gullah Fest of Daufuskie held at Mitchellville, actually on Sunday afternoon. And then church, now don't forget church though, first. And then we are going to also be in Bluffton on that Wednesday. We now have the Bluffton Gullah Cultural Heritage Center there, so we're going to have a nice evening there. And then we'll be coming back to St. Helena the following Saturday for the first Gullah Geechee Books and Brunch. And that is going to feature Leroy Campbell, who is world-renowned in terms of Gullah Geechee art, myself, artist Quadre Stuckey, and Michael Bulwer Moore, who is the great-great-grandson of the Gullah statesman Robert Smalls. And so definitely, please get your tickets on Eventbrite in advance to come and join us, because we are going to have a way that we not only feed the body, but we also feed the minds. Culturally, the entire celebration. And it's such a blessing to have this entire coast from North Carolina down to Florida truly beating the drums and celebrating this living legacy here. So Port Royal, y'all heard how long y'all been celebrating. So it is an honor. I have been intrigued this year to find out how many years each county and each town has been celebrating with us. And it is a blessing to know my county is one of the longest standing. in all the towns here. And Port Royal, you're one of the leaders in that. So I appreciate you. A place that says Royal, you know the Queen's always gonna come.
Absolutely.
All right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
your logo is black and gold, and you know I always say, we are black gold. So
ma'am.
I know y'all did that just for me, and I appreciate you. And so definitely come on across the creek. Now, y'all know how to carry your boat and thing from right there down the line, then y'all can come on around and thing like that in the boat. We got a landing right back at Penn Center. Y'all can tie up right there. And
Retreat house.
Yes, ma'am.
Boogie, right, Jonah, exactly, to the retreat house. Y'all can tie up right there, or y'all can come on and load up and come on around. And so it's a blessing to be here, and thank you once again for this honor. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
ma'am. And yes, I encourage anyone, if you haven't been out to Penn Center, definitely check that out.
Yes.
It is a jewel of this community and this area. You know, we always say Port Royal, the Gullah community, it's not just Port Royal history,
Right.
it's American history.
Absolutely right.
And so it's really important, and your work is inspirational. I mean,
Thank
you are,
you.
ever since I've moved here, you're one of the first people I've met and always interacted with you. You are a tireless servant
Thank
of
you,
that
sir.
community and those people out there. I see you at everything. I see you always
my
promoting
best.
and, just tireless work. And so that's
Thank
to
you.
be commended,
Thank you so much. And you know I'm a
absolutely.
computer scientist, so I tell them I'm going to start making holographs of myself, and then we can
There's so
show up
many
to even
places,
more
yeah.
stuff.
So, and we've got something really special here. This is my first time doing that, but we actually want to present you with Port Royal Key to the city. All right.
I can get in anytime I want now.
Never done that, yes.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
anybody
We
else?
got to get the photo op with that one.
Yes, ma'am. We'll come down there. Anything from council? Sure. All right, all right. Let's step on down there.
Other than we grew up together and went to
Ah.
school.
That's right. We better know each other anyway. I will come on there and I can see it right on in the center. I've been good. How about you? Come on in here, man. You gotta get close.
All right, right here. We get the key. Yes, ma'am. That's our first time.
Switch.
That's our first time.
Yeah, we go. This is
Here we go, in 1, 2, 3. Here, 1, 2, 3.
You know that, 'cause I can get in anytime I want.
Anytime you want.
Love you, man. Good to see you. Yes, be blessed. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right. So,
Thank you.
fun way to start it off. Thank you very much, Miss Queen. Always brings the entourage. I love it. We got a few presentations tonight. Up first, Volunteer Water Rescue Squad's 50th anniversary.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Chief.
We're here tonight to honor our local Beaufort Water Search and Rescue Operation teams. I'm going to ask Clay Imager to join me up front here and some of the other teams.
Good, good.
And we'll invite up, tell you a little bit about what they do. You may have seen them, 4th of July out protecting the waterways. You see them during the water festival, dragging boats, all the events we have on the waterways. But what most people don't see is what they do above and beyond that. This is all volunteer agency that runs day and night protecting all the waterways in Beaufort County. And I mean Defusky, May River, all the way to Harbor, to our Beaufort rivers. They respond to emergencies and non-emergencies day and night protecting our waterways here in Beaufort. And again, they're all volunteer, and this is a special year for them because they turn 50 years old this year.
You guys haven't been there for 50 years, right?
Oh, that old girl.
No, that sounds being shocked.
So on behalf of the Beaufort Port Royal Fire Department, we have a plaque honoring their 50 years of service of protecting the waterways in Beaufort County and our surrounding areas. So congratulations, Clay.
So much, Chief. I appreciate
I'm
that.
going to turn it over to you if you'd like to say anything.
All right, we'll get some
Yeah, we'll
pictures
get
here
some
in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get down there. Yes, sir.
And thank you very much, and obviously it's a pleasure to work with the chief and his people. They're great, very supportive of us. They keep us informed. Sometimes some things slip through the cracks, and one of the battalion chiefs will call me or something, somebody's in need, and they're right on top of it. It helps that I've got one of his battalion chiefs is actually on our team, and he's actually my third in command on our team. So that helps out a lot, having a battalion chief on our crew.
I can't thank my guys enough. Obviously, it's not all of us. We just had a call. I don't know if you heard the pager go off, but they're en route over there to Ladies Island in Whitehall right now.
Oh, wow.
We got a loose sailboat that came loose in the storm. So they're going to go handle that so it doesn't damage the bridge or whatever. But I want to speak on behalf of the men and women that came before us. You know, they started this thing in 1975, and I think the only surviving charter member today, if I'm not wrong, is Bobby Cooler, who owns Sea Island Marine downtown. And he couldn't be here tonight. I asked him to come, but he couldn't make it. So, and a couple of the other guys that have been around for a long time, they couldn't make it as well. Dole Clifton's one of them. I think y'all probably know him. He's a school teacher for many, many years, and he was with us for a long time. So I invited him. He couldn't make it. And Gary Bright, I don't know if you know Gary. You probably know Gary, Mary Beth.
I do.
Yeah, he couldn't make it as well, but they send their regards, and I can't thank y'all enough. This is awesome. You know, it's our pleasure to serve the community. We love to do what we do, or else we wouldn't do it. We don't get paid. You know, we spend our money in gas in our vehicles. The squad pays for the boat gas, but all these guys that tow the boats everywhere, they pay for their own gas. We don't pay for it. So I can't thank them enough for their support. We've grown over the years. It started with personal boats back in the day. We now have a fleet of 5 boats here in Port Royal. We have an airboat, we have a comms trailer, we have 2 boats in Bluffton now, we have 10 people over there, and we have 30 people in Beaufort. So we have grown a lot over the years.
Yes, sir.
And I can't thank these guys enough, and thank you very much, Chief. I appreciate it.
So,
Thank you, Town Council.
Yes, sir. Well, Clay, I'll say I just want to say to Clay and the men that do this, I mean, I've assume we've had events together, and you're always out there, and especially in an area like this where water is everywhere. And water is a lot of fun, and everybody has a good time on it, but it's also very dangerous. And we all see the horrific tragedies going on in Texas right now. And so that safety is so important. And the key word right there that I want everybody is that volunteer water rescue squad. Like you said, you guys sign up and just do this because you have that passion for saving, for helping, for serving. You do get to play with some really cool toys too, and so, but no, just thank y'all for doing that. Like I said, in an area like this, that water safety is very, very important. So thank y'all. Yeah, we'll come down there and get another picture with you guys if that's all right. Yeah.
Awesome. Great.
No, I know he's good.
Yeah.
2 blue shirts go down there. Donald style.
All right, here we go, and 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, man. See ya.
Great, thanks, man.
Oh, yeah. And so thank you to them. And like I said, that is such an important serve. I mean, again, those men sign up to do that, spend their own time, their own money to provide volunteer water rescue around this area where we're literally surrounded by water is amazing. And anything we can do to help them and support them, we're always going to do that. So trying to get us up. We need to do a council fan boat ride. Airboat, yeah. I've never been on one of those. It looks pretty cool. So, all right, up next. Hate to see him go, but it's all right. We got a Constable William Funderburk's retirement, police department. Seeing Chief every week. We love it.
Real quick, I don't know if you realize it or not, but we are revitalizing and reinventing our Marine Unit too. We depend on these guys a lot. They help out with our training.
That's
they
great.
help out.
Good.
We do have the boat on the water, so good. We have great appreciation.
That is great.
Also.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did your wife come out?
No, she said no.
No, she said no.
That one we did. New police chief, you have a lot of challenges. I must say, day one of the biggest challenges I had was remembering this man's name.
Thunderbird?
Make sure I get it right. William Romulus Funderburk III.
Yes, sir.
Thunderbird, but a great guy to have in our department. And we're gonna miss him. And his bio, I asked one of the captains to put a bio together for him, and it was about 3 pages. He's done so much in his career that it's just unbelievable, the experience that this man has. So what I did was, because of time, I narrowed it down to just a couple highlights.
Yeah.
So by far, nowhere near all the accomplishments that he has done in his life. He's earned an associate's degree in electronics engineering. From November 1967 to June 72, he served in the United States Army Signal Corps. He's honorably discharged at the rank of Specialist E5. Very impressive. December 72 to 2009, he was employed by Sunoco Products Company in Hartsville, South Carolina, as an electronics engineer. He worked in 14 states and 21 countries. He retired in 2009, became a state constable in 2010. Adele, you couldn't sit still, huh? Still moving. And he's still a constable in other areas. As a constable, he worked for Hartsville Police Department, Florence Police Department, Beaufort County Sheriff's Office, Folly Beach Public Service, Charleston County Sheriff's Office, and the Citadel, and has been with the Fort Royal Police Department as constable since 2014. So I just want to, on behalf of the City Council and the Fort Royal Police Department, present to you Constable William Thunderbird. Thank you for all your years of service with gratitude and respect. July 4th, 2014 to July 9th, 2025. And as a personal note, I've been very honored to get to know you and meet you.
Yes, sir. Gotta get her picture up here.
She doesn't like her picture. I know that's hard to believe.
Well, we'll stand around her, you know what I'm saying?
Can we
Maybe
get the officers up here?
everybody looks pretty standing.
You want us to stand up here?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we'll get the officers up here. Perfect.
You're in the middle, you're in the way.
Sean's got the picture, he's good.
Come on, Tiny.
You got it this time.
We protected at home, man.
Everybody ready? In 1, 2, 3. One more. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, got it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank y'all so much.
And you.
Thank you so much for letting us borrow.
Yes, ma'am, I got you.
Here's the other one, Claire. Yeah.
Oh,
That makes sense.
Chief,
Yes.
we could just keep you up here for a second. No, it's good. We already got you, so I'm gonna let you sit in the back. I was gonna ask, we got the mobile command unit in the back.
Yes.
That looks super cool. Could you just give us a little brief on that, what that is?
That is the mobile command center that had its first deployment here on July 4th.
Mm-hmm.
It was funded through the ARPA grant.
Yep.
So none of the town's money went to it.
What does it entail? What is it? What are you able to do now with that?
It's a fully mobile unit, enclosed. The biggest thing that I appreciate about it is all the town's cameras are put in right there on the big screen. So Lieutenant McCollum was our Captain McCollum. Keep saying that. Sorry, I know. Captain McCollum was
You
our
did get
instrument
promoted,
for
I
July
thought.
4th. All the compliments that I received from July 4th really go down to him. It was his plan, his operation. He maintained everything.
He gave me a tour and I appreciate it too.
What's great about that is he can monitor all the cameras throughout the city, down at Sands Beach, Paris
awesome.
Avenue, everything right there in the command center. Also, because of this area, one of the biggest things about it too is it's air conditioned, climate controlled. So officers, we require them to wear their vests during incidents like this. It's hot.
July 4th.
So they can come in there, they can get popsicles, they can get some Gatorades, they can cool off, they can take off their vest, relax a little bit, and then go back out. So-
Great.
So it worked great. And not only that, the position that he picked for out here with the awning, it was great. We had an officer sitting out there under the awning, and people would just walk up and start talking.
Yep.
So it was just great for everybody to see it, and it's the first time they'd kind of seen our badge and the Port Royal logo together, and people were really impressed. this is really cool and wanted to know about it.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing tool, and you're going to see.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and yeah, just like I said, it's a new equipment that we have that's just going to help the police department and serving the citizens, and so we just wanted to highlight that. And also, too, I think I speak for the rest of the council. We all kind of after the July 4th, we were all down there, and that ran so smooth. Great plan. I mean, we heard from so many people, and like I said, I know it was hot. Y'all's presence out there on the water, on the beach, up and down the street. I mean, and getting everyone out of the town at the end was. I mean, that was flawless. I mean, I don't think we had any issues. It was, yeah, but multiple people in council said, I think that was the smoothest, that was probably the best 4th of July we've ever had. So just want to pass that along, so.
I'll pass along to the people that actually did. Y'all did phenomenal work.
It was awesome,
Yeah,
yes,
they
sir.
did do a good job.
So, great. Thank y'all very much. Okay. Up next, we have a presentation from Mr. Noah Krebs. So we put this on the agenda tonight. We had a, of course, our workshop on the first Wednesday. There was some concern, there were some issues that were brought up about certain developments and about planning code edits. And we just felt like there was some miscommunication. We wanted to have a session here and just really kind of explain some of those and kind of talk through some of those issues that were raised and just make sure that everybody's on the same page, because we do want, that everybody just kind of understand what's going on and what we're doing. So we asked Noah to put this together really quickly. He hopped right on it, put this presentation together. And really it's just to kind of address, not, like I said, not so much concerns, but just there seemed to be some misunderstanding. And so we just want to clear up. We always want to try and communicate as clearly as possible to the citizens. And so we thought this was an opportunity to do that. And so, Noah Krebs, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I apologize, I wasn't here last week. I was on vacation, so I wasn't able to address some of the comments that came up in real time. But the first thing that I wanted to do was just go over some of the comments we got that,
And so, and now,
that
just to let everybody know, that the directions that we gave Noah was, watch the meeting, which he did, address the concerns that were raised, highlight some of the code edits that we're talking about tonight, and then kind of also just give an update, give a refresher on planning and how development is done in the town, and how it actually works, and what this board does, and what that board does, and what this council does, and what everybody votes on. Because it seems like some people say, oh, there's a planning commission, they do this, there's a design review board, they do this, there's staff, there's council. And so we just wanted to kind of give a real, I mean, here's, planning Port Royal 101 class, so.
So I'll try and sprinkle in some background here too, but I took some of the comments that we received. I just wrote some responses to it. This is a lot of text, so I'll try and summarize, and I'm willing to share these slides with anybody who asks for them so you can read through thoroughly. The first thing that we were asked to look at, and these were recommendations to look at prior to adopting the code amendments. So the first one was assigning a percentage of house size in proportion to lot size. What our code does is it has building types that are allowed in certain zoning districts. And there is a ratio for lot size and building type. So if you're looking to build a detached cottage, which is the smaller single-family house size, the lot size can be within 30 to 50 feet wide. And the house can be a maximum of 36 feet wide, but you must meet all other on-site requirements, your driveways, your open space, your setbacks. And so that is kind of how you get to the size of home that you can put up based on the lots within those ratios. Absolutely.
Just to kind of clarify, because this is something that's interesting, when you look at the town and you look at the town layout and the development, you'll see it's very colorful. All of those colors represent when he talks about a zoning district. All those zoning districts are different, and within those zoning districts, you're offered different building types that he's talking about. So 16th Street is different than 8th Street. Old Shell is different than Edinburgh. Just like Robert Smalls is different than Casablanca. And that is the way that is planned out. And part of that is the planning of, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're the one that went to school from it, this is just me learning it, is to create that diversity of a town. You want certain areas to be urban centers and more dense. You want certain areas to be more rural. You want multifamily in certain areas. You want commercial in certain areas. You don't want it to just be scattered all over the place, and that's the point of those zoning codes. And within a zoning code, you're allowed, if you look at the code, there's a certain building types that are allowed within each code. So yellow is different than blue is different than purple, and so on and so on. So that was just relevant.
And
And if I get something wrong, you tell me.
No,
You
you're
have
good.
no idea what you're talking about.
What I was going to say is, what we have is what we call transect zones. So they're T zones, and they go from 1 to 5. 1 is nature preserve, and 5 is Main Street. And so if you look at a map of specifically the village, it's the easiest example to use. You'll see that the darkest purples are in the center along Paris Avenue and West Paris Avenue and Rebo Road. Those darkest purples are the urban center and the Main Street zonings, the T4 and T5. As you move away from Paris Avenue, you would see lighter purples, which is the neighborhood center, which is the lowest of the T4s. And then as you move over towards Columbia and Edinburgh, you'll see light pink, which is suburban neighborhood, which means the lots are bigger, the houses take up less space on the lots, and then heading over past Richmond and north of 16th Street, you'll see neighborhood, which is a different pink, and that's similar to suburban neighborhood. And then on Lenora and the areas along the waterways, Berkeley Circle, you'll see a light yellow, which is the edge zoning, and those are the big waterfront lots that you see on Lenora Drive.
And would you say that is, the purpose of that is to encourage a diversity of
Yeah,
building types, architectures?
So the idea is that as you move towards the center of town, the zoning is more dense, and that's reflected in the residential areas in the village with the neighborhood center zoning. That's different than suburban neighborhood out on the edges of the downtown area where the lots are bigger, all the way into the Main Street zoning on Paris Avenue.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So the other thing that was mentioned was percentages for parking, setbacks, garages, porches, et cetera, relative to lot. And as I mentioned with the building types, those vary. There are private open space requirements. So if you have a smaller home, you've got a certain size of private open space, which means backyard. If you have a larger home, you've got a larger backyard. Then you go into all of the other things that go with the development of the lot. So you've got driveways, parking, garages, porches, setbacks. None of those things can be included in the open space, and we have had some issues with that, and we're clarifying that with these code amendments. So in the neighborhood center, the urban center, and the Main Street, the 4 and 5 zonings, that's all of those different regulations are how we back into how much of the lot remains open. In the T3 zones, the neighborhood, suburban neighborhood, and edge, there are lot coverage maximums, and so the neighborhood is 50%, the suburban neighborhood is 40%, and the edge districts are 25%. Those are the maximum lot coverages. So, and then you've got T1, which buildings are not allowed in the natural preserve, so that's 0 lot coverage. And so that's, I guess the takeaway there is that in the immediate village area, there are sections that do have lot coverage maximums. But the closer you get in, away from Old Shell, away from Columbia and in towards Paris Avenue, more of a lot will be smaller, and the homes will take up more of the lot as long as they meet certain requirements. Increasing setbacks depending on lot size and location. Frankly, it's not as simple as just increasing setbacks, because what we have is lot sizes that we have lot sizes for each zoning district that are based on existing lot sizes within the town before this zoning code was passed. So like the larger lots in the suburban neighborhood have to be 75 feet wide. The smaller lots in the neighborhood center have to be 30 feet wide.
How small are some of our lots?
30 feet is the minimum for a single family home. And that's only if
originally platted in
I was asking, what is the plot of the town?
Yeah, so the town was originally platted in 25-foot wide lots, which is why if you
25-foot
own a lot that's 75 feet wide, if you go to your tax record, it might say lots 1, 2, and 3 on 12th Street or whatever.
Gotcha.
So that can be confusing sometimes. And so I guess the point I'm trying to make with the setbacks is that there are a lot of things that have to be fit on a lot, and if you look at a house that's close to the street and you say let's move it back away from the street, you're now taking away space on lots that are already established for their width and depth for parking behind the home, garages and driveways to go beside and behind the home, waste receptacles to be screened behind the home, and that can end up putting the messy stuff like that in front of the home or to the side of the home, which turns into installing fences when you build your home that you wouldn't have needed before, and maintaining those areas. And then the other part of that is that our homes are close to the street, our porches are in front of our homes, so we've got this natural vestedness in what's going on in our streets, right? If you look at 9th, 10th, 11th Street over here in the Village Renaissance area, there are eyes on those streets at all times because the porches are big and wide open. They're set back 10 feet from the sidewalk, which is not far, but it feels appropriate, which is why those standards still exist in our codes today. So both aesthetics, safety, keeping things cleaned up and making sure people have a sense of territoriality on their block, those are the reasons that we keep our setbacks the way we do.
I like what you said there with the setbacks about the more you move a house back, you got to put all this other stuff has got to go somewhere.
And the lot sizes that we use and we create now for new subdivisions are based on the lot sizes that we have traditionally had over the last 30, 40 years in the town, as the town has subdivided, differently than those original 25-foot lots. Moving on to the next slide, assigning landscaping percentages contingent upon lot size. We do have that. While we are trying not to burden single-family homeowners with a requirement to do landscaping in their front yard that meets town standards, we do have our tree ordinance, which mandates a minimum planting. So based on the lot size in the zoning district, for example, if you're in the T3 neighborhood zone, you have to, when you build a home, you have to plant one broadleafed evergreen overstory tree like a live oak, or mostly just other types of oaks that are native. One of those per 3,000 square feet.
And
So
that's the 3,000 square feet of the lot.
correct.
Okay.
So if your lot is a 1/10 of an acre, you're guaranteed to have one tree on it. If your lot is larger than that, then it continues. And what we don't do is burden people with creating an entire landscape plan, but we do assist them in making sure that the home's going to be oriented in a way that they'll have space either in the front yard or in their rear private area to plant a tree if there aren't any existing or being retained. Additions that do not fall within the percentage of mandated open space. This is something that we are addressing with the code amendments. There have been issues because there were overlap in multiple sections of the code about what size ADUs can be. And when I say ADU, I'm referring to anything. It could be a garage with an apartment. It could be just a second small cottage in the rear of the lot, which you can see in a few places around town. And then there was also detached garages that don't have living space in them. So with all of that confusion, we've clarified that with what's being proposed. And so ADUs and private garages can only be 50% maximum of the main home. And we've also clarified that if there is going to be a reduction in that backyard space below what was required with the original home development, that you must go even lower than that 50%. So we have that covered.
And this was something that we talked about because, you were seeing some houses be built and then an ADU would be built like the size of the house.
Mm-hmm.
You basically were just getting people to build second homes on houses, and now you're saying this now says an ancillary dwelling unit that you build cannot be 50, the max is it can be 50% the size of the main house.
Correct. Yeah, there was an overlap. There was another spot in the code that actually superseded where it said 50% that says it just can't be larger than the primary home.
So you could build it 99% of the
Exactly.
size of the other house.
I think
It cleans that up.
Absolutely.
yes, it does. I think that's it. I think I accidentally doubled the final thing on this slide. So those are just some of the things that I know there was some concern about, and I'll get into a few of the other ones, but we did want to highlight what is going on with these code amendments. We took great care to make sure that what we are proposing is furthering what people want to see based on past planning efforts, based on public comment that we've received over the last couple of years. and really making sure that new development in the town of Port Royal fits the town of Port Royal. The first is we are proposing a requirement to diversify the building types in larger developments. So, for example, if a site is 30 acres on the west side of town, on the other side of the creek, they must, based on the zoning district and that acreage, have a certain number of different building types. So, single family that's small, single family that's larger, townhome, duplex, could be a 3 or 4 unit building that looks like a larger single family home. They must do that within the overall development and within the blocks of that development to really get rid of that homogeneous look of one type of house for 300 units going through a neighborhood. So we're reducing the cookie cutter look with that, and we're also increasing, with diversity of building types, we're diversifying the housing choice. So a key with what we call missing middle housing, those buildings that have somewhere from 2 to 6 units in them, that still will fit within kind of what we consider the typical for Port Royal, is that they allow more opportunity for anybody from young professionals to families with kids to aging couples that are looking for a place to downsize into, to live more affordably.
And I believe, when we kind of talked about that and gave direction to you guys, that was really a goal, is just kind of is doing the best that we can to promote and push for a vibrant community that has multiple different housing types for multiple different people that are at different phases in their lives, where you've got people that you've got all ages to come together. You've got families, you've got singles, you've got couples, everybody living together, enjoying together, enjoying the community, and being what Port Royal is. And that's what that is. That diversity of housing increases the diversity of home ownership and residents in the town.
Our landscape design standards, so what we're doing is making sure that those are all lined up with our tree ordinance, because while we did pass the tree ordinance, there are landscaping standards for, parking area screening and private frontage for new businesses and all those kinds of things. So we've tied it all together. So all of the recommended native drought-tolerant plants are all part of what's recommended in our landscaping standards now.
So now the tree ordinance will be codified.
The tree ordinance is referred to and codified in the development code.
I think that's very important. We listened to what people said about our trees. We put a lot of work into it as a council, and we're serious about our trees. And I think working that into the code amendments was very important to do that. So glad.
We have eliminated several of the zoning districts where our larger multifamily buildings that we've had so much concern with can be located. And so there's only one zoning district now where they can be located, and there is minimal area where that can be done. And again, based on the diversifying the building types within a development, you can't just only do that 12 to 24 unit apartment complex building anymore.
Explain the large-scale multifamily building. What is
that? That is 13 to 24 units in the building. So there's 6 to 12, which we call a medium multiplex, and then the large plex is the 13 to 24. So that has been greatly reduced where you can do that, and it's pretty difficult to meet the requirements to do so. That loophole for the ADUs that we mentioned before, I won't go back into that, but we have taken care of that issue. And then there's some other alternate development patterns that we are providing opportunity for, one of which I'm excited about, is, if you see a map of the west side of town, there's areas that are 30, 40, 50 acres, and they're all one zoning district. And that kind of eliminates the ability to do something interesting and do a mixed-use development that has amenities and recreation and daily needs being met within the community.
So this would be like the property behind Piggly Wiggly?
Correct, yep. And what you can do now is basically use the town zoning districts to create a regulating plan with new zoning districts. So if you have that neighborhood center, the T4 for the whole property, you can keep a majority of it that neighborhood center. You can, on the outskirts, downzone some of it to T3 suburban neighborhood, and then you can designate one of the streets in the center of it as urban center, and now you've got that commercial center. It might be retail and restaurants, or it could be services, offices. And then as you move out, the neighborhood gets less dense and feels more like a natural, traditional neighborhood. And then one of the other great things about that is with the largest tracts, the developer will be required to set aside civic space, as in land that could be utilized by the municipality or the fire district for service, whether it be a police substation, a fire station, depending on how much larger the town of Port Royal grows, an annex for the for the town hall staff. You never know, but they are required to keep that in place for about 10 years, so that the town can determine based on the population rising in that area if services are needed in that location. And then finally, infill development, flexibility for that. To be able to cluster homes closer together and save more open space, especially when there is naturally sensitive areas, and it's also more energy efficient, and can most of the time end up in a better site layout. And a good example of that is the London Square project, which was approved last year on 14th and Richmond. So if anybody would like to look at that site plan, that's a great example of orienting the homes similar to duck blind around a wetland area that's going to be restored. And so people might say the homes are close together, but they're also avoiding all of those sensitive areas and staying away. So just a quick timeline of what we've done with this code review. Last year in May was when the multifamily moratorium ordinance was adopted, and that requires staff to do a review of those regulations. So by July, end of July, we had
So just to reiterate that, because I think there was some confusion around that moratorium that we put in place was for 1 year on multifamily units.
Yes,
Not
multifamily.
not single-family homes, multifamily.
Correct. And so multifamily in this sense does not mean multiple single-family homes. It means
Attached.
a unit or a building that building that has 3 or more units in it. So
You can build a house.
You can build a house. You could always build a house under this moratorium. You can do single-family subdivision, but you could not do anything that had buildings with more than 3 units in them.
And that's just to give
including
everybody the history on that. What that really was, I mean, we all see it when we go up on Robert Smalls, when we go around the area, when we see what's going on in Beaufort. You're seeing massive tracts of land being completely clear-cut. You're seeing apartment buildings being built that are just kind of these cookie cutter, like you just talked about, that are there's nothing really, and nothing against apartments. I've lived in them. I don't want this to be taken any other way. Many apartments throughout my life. Nothing against that, but these particular types of apartments were just kind of a cut and paste product that they could do anywhere. They just were able to do it here, and they could move that and put that apartment anywhere in the country. And we decided to say, hey, we want to have, if you want to build an apartment complex here, that's fine, but we want to make it fit more into Port Royal. We want to make it more unique and more to the character of Port Royal. So that's where this whole conversation started. And when we put the moratorium in place for that, it was, we're going to take that year for the staff to have some time, pump the brakes, because you were getting a lot of applications coming in. It's like you can't deal with what's coming in. You can't fix what's in front of you if you're constantly dealing with what's coming in. So it said pump the brakes on that. Let staff focus on these code edits and really bring us a product back by the time this moratorium ends. So then that can sunset and these new planning codes can be in place. So.
And so by the end of July, we had secured our consultant, and so we started working with Lauren Kelly from Moser Kelly Design Group Associates. They are housed in Habersham and have been instrumental in the development of Habersham. And they have also done amazing work all over in new urbanism, which is a planning theory that our code is based around. So she's done that code work before. It was a perfect fit. She's also an architect, a great one, and so it was a perfect match.
She helped with the London.
She designed London
She did
Square.
that, yes, exactly. The one that you just talked about, that's preserving the duck blinds and the trees and the environment, yes.
Every significant tree is being retained on that site. So the next month in August, we had our first work session with the Planning Commission to just kind of talk about what the timeline would be, how we were going to break the work up, and then we got to work. And so we took a month, just Lauren and I, going over how are we going to do this, what do we need to focus on, pages and pages of notes. And then in October, we had our first Planning Commission public work session to discuss the initial proposed amendments. And we continued to hold work sessions until May. In May, we had 3 work sessions. And then at the end of May, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of those amendments to this body. And so in June, council had its first reading, and that's where we are tonight.
Here's our Planning 101.
Yes, this is Planning 101. And I could do a whole presentation on Planning 101, but I'll keep it particular to the town. So this is just a look at what's everybody responsible for, who does what, which boards are allowed to do certain things, what can staff do and not do, what can council do and not do. And so with Planning Commission, the easiest way to think of it is they're the big picture people. They're looking at the overall, how is this comprehensively looked at for how it'll affect the town. So they draft or delegate staff to draft, and they make recommendations on revisions to the comprehensive plan, which is adopted every 10 years and updated every 5. They review annexation requests, proposed amendments to the zoning code, proposed amendments to the zoning map. What they do not do is review development applications for code compliance. There's nothing regulatory other than recommendations about the Planning Commission.
And as you said, when they vote, it's not a final vote. It
Correct.
is a
So the
recommendation.
other thing is that the Planning Commission does not make any final decisions. What they vote on is a recommendation to Town Council. So anything that the Planning Commission votes on is a recommendation to Town Council to say you should adopt this or you should not adopt this.
And to reiterate, the Planning Commission, as you just stated, did unanimously approve the new
Correct.
code edits.
And then there is the Design Review Board. I won't touch on the other 3 or 4 planning boards that we have for right now.
Historic.
But historic, that was an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Historic and Zoning Board. But the Design Review Board does have the ability to make final decisions, and they do have the ability to look at and help administer regulations within the development code. So one of the major things that they do is development design review, which is reviewing all the site planning and architecture that has been submitted for development applications. And they're looking at aesthetic appropriateness, fit with surrounding context, compliance with our architectural standards and our community design standards. And there's a whole list of things that they can dig into there. They also look, sorry.
No, I was just saying, go ahead, sorry.
They also look at landmark tree removal requests, which typically go hand in hand with the site planning, the development design review, if it is on a site that's looking to be developed. And that is a big burden on them, and they take it very seriously, so those decisions typically take a long time, and those decisions are final.
They are a voting body.
They are a
When
voting body.
They vote.
Correct. And then the last thing they do is special exception uses, so that could be light manufacturing, like woodworking might be allowed in a more urban zoning district, but it's not allowed in suburban neighborhood unless you meet even more conditions than you would for the use in the zoning districts where it's allowed, permitted by right. So they make those decisions. And again, they make final decisions. Once the Design Review Board makes a decision, the only person or the only body who can overturn it is the Circuit Court. What staff does is guide applicants through the development review process. So we review applications for compliance with all the applicable regulations. If all regulations are met for whatever is being proposed, whether it be the site design or the land use that's being proposed in an existing building, staff cannot deny that application. We do not have discretion to deny an application if it's based in the codes and has complied with all of them. We do have the discretion to forward development applications to the Design Review Board. We do that very frequently. We haven't had anything come in we hadn't had anything come in for much of the first half of this year. We met in June. We'll be meeting again, I believe, or we met in July, I'm sorry. We'll be meeting again in August. And so anytime that there is a decision that staff feels does need extra eyes, does need extra ears and hands, we send it right to them, and every first Thursday of the month, if there's an agenda item, we're here discussing those issues. And then finally, what council does in the development process. Council takes legislative action in the development process, wherein they adopt the development regulations by ordinance after consideration from staff and a recommendation from Planning Commission. Council, though, does not have any authority to review, approve, or deny development applications because our town council in our government form does not have administrative responsibilities. They are a legislative and policy-making body. So that is it for me. If you have any questions or wanted to provide any more clarification, I'm happy to do so.
Let's open it up to council if there's any questions. Anything from you?
That was very thorough. Thank you
Thank you for
for
making
communicating
that
that. You did a good job.
And thank you for getting on that. Like I said, we had that, we always, we had our public workshop last Wednesday. There were clearly some issues that were brought up that we felt that just needed to be addressed, that needed to be communicated better. So we reached out to Noah and said, can you put something together? He said, I'm on it, and he got this together and did this tonight. So thank you for, and I'm sure you have other duties throughout the day as the planning assistant than putting the PowerPoint together, so.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Still kind of curious who approved the vacation time.
I just told I didn't ask. So while I'm up here.
This is exciting news for everybody. Because
very exciting news.
I'll let you, go ahead, yes, sir.
I
know.
So, as everybody knows in this room, as Kevin just alluded to, we have had a very large influx of development applications while trying to maintain progress on planning initiatives in the town over the last few years. And it's been building. Our population's been growing, which means we need to do more planning. And so we have officially started a Planner 1 in the planning department. Joey, are you still here? Yeah.
Hey.
Come on up, buddy.
This is Joey Etham. He started with us in, I guess, the middle of June, right?
Yeah, middle of June.
Great.
And he has hit the ground running. We've been teaching and learning as much as we can. And I was on vacation and told the ladies up front to send every single thing to Joey without telling him I was going to do that. And I came back and he was 10 times more capable than he was when I left. So he's doing a great job. I'll let him take the podium.
This was this wasn't something we did in the new budget. Noah's got some help. That's absolutely, so that's awesome. Yeah, Joey, please, welcome to the team, welcome to the family.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
where are you from, what's your background, and yeah, real quick.
I'm actually from Orlando.
Okay.
I was there for a couple of years, and I was in South Carolina before that, but moved there with my fiance.
Okay.
We're getting married this year, actually. So, and from there, was finishing up my degree, and from Orlando, I came in contact with Noah, had an email forwarded to him. I was looking for employment, and happened to have a meeting with him, and since then, it's been great. The amount of responsibility and the amount of things that I get to do under Noah, and the amount of impact that I'll have in general is amazing, and I definitely feel welcomed and very comfortable to be a part of the town of Port Royal.
Well, that is great, Joey, and like I said, we really are the community here. You are in, I'm a little biased, but the best town, and you're in it at a very exciting time. And you're gonna be a part of some really important, some big things, and we're excited. I know Noah is so excited to have some help. So yeah, anybody got any questions or comments to Joey? Again, we're just happy to see you again. Yeah.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Oh, and another thanks to Lauren Kelly because she sent us his resume.
Thank you.
So.
Yep.
So hey, this absolutely. So, and we really mean it up here. Every single one of us, open book, open door policy. Anything you need from us, you really, come to us and you ask, and we'll do everything we can to support you and help you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And
So-
thank you to Noah as well. Thank you to him.
Very welcome, Joey. Okay. All right. Well, that was great. Council briefing. Dan's back.
Yeah, I'm back. Just a few things, some excitement. The Casablanca Sewer Project was funded.
Yeah.
$720,000. We're real excited about that. So we'll be looking to expand sewer, which will have an impact in that particular area, so that's pretty exciting. One thing I did want to clarify, obviously, there's some new legislation relative to the operation of golf carts. Some confusion as to whether it kind of usurped our authority to allow golf carts to be utilized in the evening hours. That remains. Part of the previous legislation gave us the discretion to adopt an ordinance giving our residents the ability to drive at night. That does not go away. It remains in place. So I'm on a little different time frame, so I'm reading posts at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning right now, and decided to maybe edit those a little bit, so that's why they were taken down and addressed, and we
So
want to address
there's
it a little bit
no
tonight.
changes to, golf
No
carts
changes,
import.
no.
The requirement remains headlights, taillights.
You got it, you got it. So, we're all good there. And only other thing is Sands Beach Boat Landing, obviously the causeway is, we've ordered some more signs, so maybe we could have built the thing out of signs by the time we're finished. But anyways, I think it's operating well. We haven't had any catastrophes. It has not collapsed. So I think we're still good there.
It got worked on Friday.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, from noon on, it was on.
Right.
And it was great. That thing held up well. I mean, it was
So,
good.
Absolutely.
answer any questions?
No, I see that concrete's being laid over on West Paris.
You got it.
And that looks good. We get that, as soon as they get done with that project, they're moving right on to the next drainage project.
Keep checking forward.
I think that's about it. Yeah, that's all good news. So
Yeah.
glad to have you back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did some fact
look
finding while I
refreshed.
was there, so.
You look refreshed. Even though we bugged you.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
sorry.
2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it's okay. I was 6 hours ahead of y'all anyway.
Did you find anybody celebrating there?
What's that?
Anybody celebrating there?
Just a little, just me.
All right.
Fourth of July.
Yeah, 4th of July. I couldn't find a whole lot of
I
people.
started to come
celebrating.
back and tell you we were too.
That's
A
funny.
little early in the morning.
So, all
Van,
right.
for the record, your staff in your absence handled things
Yep.
wonderfully.
Perfect.
The entire team did a great job, so.
Yes.
Very communicative.
It's good that you
on
can go
point.
out of town and not have to worry about it, because they did a great job.
Perfect.
Absolutely. So, all right, any other comments, questions for staff? All right, great. Up next is public comment. I've gotten 2 up here. First is Colleen Johnson.
Hi.
Hey.
Colleen Johnson for Camp Saxton Way, and mayor, council, and staff. First of all, I have to say that this was written today before I was educated by Noah, but I worked real hard at it, so we can just kind of
Okay.
listen to me. I was recruited by Gail Tramontano because she's in Colorado, and she thinks I have a big mouth. I don't know. So anyway, I was going to ask for the second reading of the code revision to be held off, postponed, until the town could meet with Gail and the group that have had concerns. Apparently, Noah has looked into all that, and I think that he has responded very well. I think that the group back here, the whole entourage, probably believes that too. And I do want to thank Noah for going over that process. Her concerns were the percentage of size of new homes with square footage in proportion to lot size, garages, parking, parking spaces, and accommodate the overflow parking. Like when you have guests and all, are you going to have space for that? Maybe there should be additional parking area allotted because they shouldn't expect to park along the street. One of her big pet peeves was don't build on top of sidewalks. They need larger setbacks, and I think that was the 16th Street and Old Shell Road. I'm just the messenger. And that she was upset because when she was meeting with some folks here that they kept referring to Port Royal as a city, and she is real strong about this is a town, not a city. Don't make it a city. So again, I am the messenger. Noah, you explained the planning process and that you do include the boards, commissions, whatever, and that was a concern. In some people's eyes, they thought it was just Noah and VN, and I think that he clarified that, It answered all of my questions. I hope it answered Gail. She's watching.
Yep.
The new development on 16th and Old Shell is being built against critical marshlands, and of course, we're going to have the same thing when you build over where the port property is. Does the Office of Ocean Coastal Resource Management, do they take a look? Do they have any input on that? No, Noah's saying yes, they do. And I don't pretend to know all the ins and outs. I know more now because of Noah tonight. And I do hope that this development will be an example of what will be allowed in other properties being proposed and built. Congested towns seem to be the ordinary these days and affect the fabric of community. Please keep Port Royal far from ordinary.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Up next, I got one more, Mr. Will Murphy.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
Mayor, council, staff, thank you guys. Noah, that was an excellent presentation. I feel so much more informed than I was before. That was a plethora of information, but I think there's more. I would like to see some of these copies, and I would really like to be given, and I think some of these other people would like to have an opportunity to review some of this other information. I think there's a lot more than what just came up. And I was kind of surprised to see the second reading on the agenda for today. I thought in our meeting last week that we had discussed that it was probably going to be a better idea to put it off for another week, but don't know what happened in that. But anyhow, I think it should be considered that it should be put off a little bit longer until this information, all the technical little pieces and specs in there, and not that I'm going to understand all of it, but it should be made available, and I'm curious to see some of these things. I had another question. It's a little bit of a sidebar about communities, because I know that the one area that's going up, they have like 11 houses going up, but it's going up as individual houses and under Port Royal, whereas we're in Old Tabby and we have to have an HOA there. We don't particularly want to have an HOA there, but maybe at some point I can talk to somebody that can explain that to me. I really implore you to give us an opportunity to go over all this information that's going to be made available. I hope that can happen. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for what you've done for Port Royal, and we're happy to have you as our council and mayor and our staff and the manager and all that stuff. I just hope that you'll consider that. Take that into consideration. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, up next, first readings. Okay. Yeah, well, all right, come up. Yeah, I believe you.
I lost it on the way through.
Yeah.
Mayor,
Yeah.
council, and staff, I'm Marcy Roy. I live on Royal Palms, and I'm also a member of the HPRF board. A couple weeks ago, we were meeting, and after the meeting, we were talking, and whatever happened to coffee and conversation? And whatever happened to porch parties? So we met again, and we kind of came up with a game plan on what we could do about that, and we are here to get some support from all of you. The museum is not going to sponsor it because it's kind of out of our wheelhouse, so to speak, but we are going to kickstart it and get it organized. What we would like to do is we started Coffee and Conversation today, so Sean, thank you for getting that in for us. We're going to have that Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock at the museum. So we're changing it up a little bit. It's not going to be 7:30. It's going to be at the museum. And what we're going to do is, beforehand, it ended up getting to be, pardon my French, but a little bit of a bitch session. And we want to make it more positive, but we also want to collect people's concerns. And then once we get, a concern that keeps coming up, we'd like to reach out to you, the council, and Van, you, to get a subject matter expert to come to the meeting to talk about the subject, and just the subject.
Yeah.
And then we also want to reach out to the fire department, the police department, the Cypress Wetlands, and just get more information instead of just coming together to complain. So that's what we're doing. So Wednesday mornings, 8 o'clock, anybody's invited. We'd love to have anybody show up. The porch parties we started talking about, we realized that they just got too big. The last two were like between 75 and 100 people. So we decided instead of having it at some people's private homes, we would have it at the Live Oak Park, and it would be a potluck. So we came up with the name of the third Thursday. I know it sounds very original, but we're going to have it on the third Thursday. We're going to come in and get a permit. We kind of looked at all the events and everything, and it looks like third Thursdays are open. And we're going to ask for a host or hostess to make sure that things are set up before, and then to come in afterwards and make sure that, you know, the park is left as it was. So I think it'd be nice to bring, I mean, it was one of the things that drew me to Port Royal, because I was able to go to a couple porch parties, and it was just so quaint and friendly and nice. So we're going to get that going too.
Great.
So I hope you guys will support all that.
Absolutely. I just ask, stay in touch with Sean, get that information. Let's get that on the newsletter. I don't think you're going to see, I mean, we'll absolutely, of course, be there and be at events. And I mean, that's one of the things we love about being on council. So yeah, but just get the information out. And I love that you're bringing that back, because those were some really special, fun things, the porch parties and the coffee and conversations. So yeah, that's great.
Great. And Sean, if you could put it up further in the newsletter so that people could, you know, if they breeze through it, they might not make it to the end. So I would appreciate it.
Maybe we'll make an announcement on the first one, like Coffee and Conversations is back.
It's back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, first reading, 2025-11, an ordinance amending the business license ordinance of the town of Fort Royal to update the class schedule as required by Act 176 of 2020. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. All right, with discussion, can you just real quick?
Yeah, when they basically reformed the business license legislation in 2020, it requires us on an annual basis to update the tables that generate the fees. And for those of you that do business license fees, they're based upon profitability, and so they basically reshuffle that deck every so often based upon whatever they come up with research-wise, and then we are required to adopt those new table of classifications on an annual basis.
All right. Any comments, questions to staff? No. All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 All right, up next, second reading, 2025-10, an ordinance to amend Articles 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the Development Code of the Town of Fort Royal, South Carolina. Entertain a motion.
I move that we amend, or that we approve 2025-10, an ordinance to amend Articles 2, 3, 4, 5, Development Code of the Town of Fort Royal.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, so now we're in discussion. And just to clarify to everybody, really what, and I know it did a great job. So what's in front of us tonight, because I think a lot of the things that came out last week were about specific developments and the specific things going on in the development. Those things are being developed under the old code. Nothing in front of us is about any specific development. As you heard tonight, this council does not make decisions about final developments. We do not give approval or denial to anything that is built. We set the legislative agenda and responsibilities, and then town staff officiates that. So what we are voting on are these amendments to the planning code. And as you heard from Noah, this has been about a year-long process, about 10 public meetings done on it. I know that right now the information is up there hyperlinked on our agenda. And really what it does, let me ask you, Noah, does this, what you're bringing to us, does it answer the majority of the concerns that were that were mentioned last week?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, or they are improved.
Yes. And so the thing is, when we talk about developments that are ongoing and moving votes down the road, all those developments that you're talking about will continue to be developed under the old code. Nothing that we do tonight is stopping any developments that are ongoing. What this is intended to do is put in place going forward. It's to put in place and protect and get a better product when we go forward. It does really important things like the multifamily, the tree ordinance is now encompassed. A lot of really good work that is in there, and what this does is now set the standard going forward. I really believe that this is going to be one of those votes, or one of those things that we do, just like the tree ordinance. 5-10 years from now, we're going to look back and say, wow, that was very forward thinking. That was very good that we did that. I'm glad we got that in place. We're ahead of the game, if you will, on these issues. Again, because there's a lot coming down the pipe. And the more we wait 30 days turns into 60 days, 60 days turns into 120 days. NOAA's getting applications every single day for developments. There's a lot more space in the village than people think about people are looking at. There's the London project that you talked about. There's Anchor Park. There's Kent's Court. There's the Safe Harbor property when that comes online. There is the Dollar General properties around there. There's, and this is just the village, and that's not just the individual house lots that are still in the village. This also affects Casablanca, Shell Point, up Sea Island Parkway, up Savannah Highway, Robert Smalls. All of those areas are affected by this. And again, NOAA's getting applications every single day for development and planning and codes. And so I think it's really incumbent on that we pass this, we get it on the books, we let this process play out that we've gone through for the past year. And again, all of the meetings and all of the work that we've done and all that NOAA's done, the consultants have done, the planning commission's done, again, with it getting unanimous approval. And so I just really wanted to clarify what exactly we're voting on tonight. We're not voting on any specific development because this council never votes on any development. We never have, and that will never come before us. What we're talking about is setting plans to get a better product going forward. So I'll open that up to any other discussion from council. I just wanted to just clarify. The last thing we talked about after our meeting last Wednesday was we don't want there to be miscommunication, I can tell you, I talk to these 4 people around me a lot, every single day. They love Port Royal for all the same reasons everyone does. That's why they do what they do. They love this town. They make decisions based on what is best. Port Royal is growing. That is happening. Every indicator that is out there tells us that is going to continue to grow. South Carolina is the fastest growing state in America. People are moving here, and we need to be prepared for that. And that's what this council has done, and done a lot of work to get prepared for that. People are coming, development is coming. That's why NOAA just hired an assistant. So again, that's what this is for. This is for the future. And again, I think it's really something that we're gonna look back and be like, that was really smart and forward thinking, and glad we did that. So that's that's all I got. Anybody else have comments?
I think you summed it up actually, because as you stated that we're not voting on any particular development. We're voting on the amendment to the codes. Definitely to protect us for, not against, because we have so many future developments and requests that's on the table that's going to be coming before this council and so forth. And we want to ensure it also that we are protected and that we have smart growth and smart development and so forth. And so that's blanket rather than a specific project. So I agree with you.
Absolutely.
I'll say just a couple of comments. Noah did a great job explaining that. I came in here tonight and I remember just talking with some people saying this is going to be an educational opportunity, and it was. There were a lot of misconceptions out there, so thank you for your clarification. We've held 10 public meetings about this. This has been done, and everybody's had the opportunity to look at it. And we've taken those into consideration, and it's been, we've been talking about it for a while. So this makes Port Royal a better place, in my opinion. It makes us better. We pushed pause with the moratorium on multifamily, and we did that so we could look at our codes and see how we're moving forward. And I think we've hit a home run with that. I think we've done a good job with that. I honestly do. So thank you to staff and thank you to the council for your efforts and your hard work on that.
And Noah, thank you so much for at least making the concern so people know. And like we spoke last week, come to us. Come sit down with Noah or Brooke and all them. Anybody will be glad to sit with you and go over anything. We're looking at this as a whole. We're not looking at it, like we said, in development, in certain projects. It's important that what we do, and we don't have all the answers. We don't have that ball in front of us. But what we do feel is what we've done and what we're fixing to do is the right thing to do. 6 months from now, it could change, and we might have to come back and come to y'all and say, you know what? We made a mistake on one part of it. But that's the beauty. We can always refine something. But you have to start somewhere. And what we have in place is not working, so we have come up with a new solution and hoping that this is the better and this will do and carry us on and we won't have to come back. And, you know, just please stand with us, come to us. Our doors are always open, our phones are open. People call me all the time. Call all of us. We're here. We're your representative to do what you want, but we don't look at individual projects. And it's so important that you understand that we have a whole group to look after. And you know, we'll do what we need to do, and hopefully you can understand that.
Absolutely. Comments? You good?
No, you guys cover it all. I appreciate the
All right.
opportunity to be. No, you know, I'm a huge fan of, and everybody in the room is, I think, of property rights, right? And I live in a neighborhood, Shadow Moss community. It's got 611 homes. And when I look, and I used to read for a living, and I told myself I was never going to read again. That's my job as a sergeant major, is to read and understand what my boss was going to sign that wouldn't relieve him of his Title X responsibilities and wouldn't put him in jail specifically or fired. And that was my job, to stay overnight and red pen the living Jesus of everything. And I said, I'm never going to read like that again until I took this job. And you guys raised me. And so when I say that I believe that is why, I think I'm honored to have made the motion to get on and get Port Royal in its direction that we see it. Because I read those things, and Noah's right when he says that in most instances it makes it better for this town. It does. It's not telling me I have to go do that thing. No, the town is saying this is where it's going and this is how it's going to be done here. And you know that coming in, just like everyone complains about HOA requirements. When you sign the contract, it's required that you sign that document too. So they're like, I didn't know I couldn't park on that. Yeah, you did. I'm vice president of my HOA and I got my truck towed because I parked in the wrong spot. I mean, that's just what it is. If you don't follow the rule, that's what it is. But we tell you up front. And that's what I love the most about this council. Now, we'll talk about it anywhere. And we're not going to always agree, and I get that, and I appreciate that, but that's what makes it great. But the fact that you guys continue to come here and tell us stuff, that breeds accountability into this whole process. Because we owe it to each other. We don't owe it to you, you don't owe it, we owe it to each other. Because we all live in this community. We owe it to one another to be good, to be courageous, and to be confident that someone is looking at you in your eye and considering that. Even though I may say, nope, we're going to move forward, I still looked right at you, and I considered what you said, and I appreciate that. And that's not going to change anything, any bit of our fiber. It's not. You know, one thing that we do pride ourselves in, and the ordinances that we've approved up here, is that we don't back ourselves or our town into a corner we can't get out of. And that's what Mary Beth is saying. If we come back and we say, damn, well, you had it right, man. We left enough space for us or future councils to have the room that they deserve to do what it is that they think that they need to do. And that's something I think that you, as a town, should be proud of, because you contribute to that the most by being up here and going past 3 minutes. I'm just like, no, it's what it is, right? It's because it makes you feel that way, right? It's what makes my daughter and my son greet everybody in this room like they're friends everywhere they go. And that's beautiful. So again, I'm proud that I'm not usually allowed to make motions because they're so used to it. So move. Second, I'm like, what do I got to do here? Yeah. But man, I tell you, it really is. It's an honor to see this because again, I think this is the framework that we've all contributed to. And when we see this thing kind of lay out in front of us, it's going to be so awesome. I mean, we're going to talk about this. I hope Lily buys a house here. And gee, her husband don't know yet, but they got to live in Port Royal now. So thank you for that, Mayor.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate that.
Oh, amen, absolutely. So with all that being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you all very much. Up next, important dates, July 16th through the 19th, 2025, Municipal Association of South Carolina Annual Meeting down on Hilton Head. So that's the Municipal Association of South Carolina is a group that we are a part of. All municipalities in the state of South Carolina are. I believe there's 217 municipalities in the state, around there. And it's a really great time. We get together, and what I always take away from it is we get to learn from other people. We see what they're doing, we see what's going on in their communities, we see, and we're never gonna, copy anybody. We don't want to be anybody else. Why would we want to? We're the town of Port Royal, but that doesn't mean you can't learn from other people. So we look around, and those are great times at that. So we'll be at that. Again, our phones will still be working if you need to get a hold of us. Thursday, 2024, July 24th, 2025, Accommodation Tax Committee meeting at 4. Monday, July 28th, Planning Commission meeting at 5 p.m. with Noah, and I guess Joey as well. All right. Any other dates council would like to add?
July 12th, Water Festival Raft Race.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That will be.
July 20th at Sands Beach.
Sands Beach. And just to clarify really quick about the raft race, when that's going on, I've had a couple people ask me, that's not closing anything at the
Right, Sands.
Yep. So boat landing's still open, the beach is public. Go down there, enjoy it. If anything, you're just going to go to the beach and have some entertainment. Go down there and chill out and watch some people, do the raft races. It'll be fun. But like I said, so just spread that. I had a couple of people asking me that. Well, is that going to close down Sands Beach? Not at all. Sands Beach will be open and operating as normal, but just from the hours of 8 to 12, we'll have some little raft boats going back and forth in front of Sands Beach. So.
July 26th, Gullah Geechee Family Day.
Yep. Well, I'll be there. Like you heard, I got to go get the food. Absolutely.
That's right.
So, any other dates you'd like to add? Any dates to add? Okay, all right. I've got public comment up here, but I do not have any forms. We're almost at 8 o'clock. We'll keep it moving. Council comments. I'm going to start with my left.
I'm
Councilman
good.
Ashby.
I think we've covered everything.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Congratulations on the new addition. to your
Absolutely. Thank
family.
you so much. She's doing great. Baby had her first appointment on Monday. She's growing. She's having a good time. Mama's healthy. We're very blessed, and everybody's doing really,
I'm
really
sure
good.
baby
So-
sister is right
Yeah,
there
baby
helping
sister.
out.
Jerry's got some daughter that said he hasn't hit her. She hasn't hit her yet, and he goes, oh, "She will." It's coming. So right now, she kisses her and calls her sissy. So it's very cute. Absolutely. So, any comments, Mary Beth?
No, I just want to say thank you to everybody that helped with the 4th of July.
Yes,
I
shout
did
out.
put it on Facebook. Everybody that drove golf carts and took people down so they didn't have to walk, thank you for doing that. Thank you to the fire department for having water and stuff. Thank you for the police department for being down there and having people in and out in an orderly manner. And I think we probably didn't have any trouble this year, did we, Chief? And when I came out of the last parking lot to
cleared
come
out.
up, probably within 30, 45 minutes,
It was
the street was
outta
clear. So thank you for what all y'all have done to help make it better for all of us, and to all the people. If you know somebody, please thank them for bringing their golf carts and
Yeah.
taking people down.
That was
Thank
great.
you. It's
I love seeing
community
that.
spirit.
That was that. That's so what Port Royal is about. I saw
I
that.
like that
and
right
it-
turnout. I thought that was pretty smart.
Yes.
Having the traffic go right turn only. Everything just seemed to flow pretty well, and the streets cleared out pretty well.
Councilman Grau.
Yeah, again, really awesome weekend. I had a couple friends from out of state that came down here. I invited them down here specifically because I was like, hey, man, we're going to throw a party. It's going to be day long, and it's great. And so that wasn't too hard. They all showed up. And they were like, man, who's all these folks driving everybody around? And I was like, no, man, our town signs up. I didn't know you guys have like an actual sign up with time frames and everything. I was like, man, this is pretty awesome. I learned that day, and they were like, you guys do this? I'm like, man, this is like one thing that we do. So I think we'll be having more visitors for our street music series and that kind of stuff, because again, they really enjoyed it. Calm, quiet, walk in if they wanted to, or jump on a golf cart and just do what they got to do. The police department extremely interactive with everybody. That was wonderful.
Yes.
Again, they do keep pops in there, frozen pops. I had to taste test a couple of them just to make sure they were good. And then the final thing that I'll say, I think this is for me to be able to kind of be the missing link and to kind of close this loop for us. I think is another proud moment for the town that a lot of municipalities and a lot of their councils can't sing. So and the mayor didn't allude to it when he mentioned the MASC annual meeting this year, is that I'll be graduating and being fully educated and trained to sit on this dais and represent you, which makes us all completely trained as a team. And it was really important for me to do that. And I did kind of, I think, in a little bit of faster time frame that I would have wanted to do it, because I just told you my reading story. I didn't want to read anymore. But again, I saw it extremely important and responsible of me to be up here and understanding not only the form of government, that this council and this town operates under, but what the economic development ramifications are if I didn't understand what that entails. And so I think having that done and us presenting that to you as a council and saying this is who we represent you is going to be a pretty proud moment for us in Hilton Head. And we get to do it in Hilton Head, which is pretty cool that we're close to us.
Yeah.
So they'll know who they're talking about when they announce that there.
We'll be
for us. So,
recognized on the state honor roll
Yep.
for having a.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're looking forward to it. So we'll
Congratulations.
represent you well there.
We'll take some pictures of him
Yeah,
graduating
that's
and
right.
share them with
They
you.
won't tell you the hazing they put me through, but you know.
You have to wear the same outfit for July 4th.
Yeah, that was a beautiful outfit, absolutely. So, all right, well, cool.
I'll leave
Well,
them
thank
at
y'all so
yours.
much. Beautiful meeting. Thank you for being here. I don't know if it's raining or not, but y'all have, get home safe, and we'll see you out and about.
Can I get a ride, anyone?